Hello my loyal companions, welcome back to the channel. In today's video I want to talk about the new rogue FIXER and kind of discuss his strengths and weaknesses and where I see him fitting into the scene in terms of casuals, ranked and top tier competitive. If you do go on to enjoy the video, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, but for now, let's get into it. Before we start, I'm going to put out one little disclaimer before you start writing in the comments. I know he's called the FIXER, but I'm going to refer to him as FIXER throughout the video. Just so we're all on the same page, I'm going to go over his kit very quickly, just in case some of you don't know exactly what he does. In terms of his primary weapons, he has the brand new Sniper the Tier, which is a 2-shot, very fast firing sniper rifle. He also has the Deadeye, the D3DI, which is Talon's DMR, as his second primary weapon. His melee weapon is the baseball bat, and he has a brand new pistol called the Warrant, which is a very fast firing, very good damage pistol that honestly is a bit too strong at the moment and could probably compete with some of the SMGs. Then in terms of gadgets, he has a new gadget called the Cluster Smoke, which is basically like a smoke grenade except it's 2, it clusters out and it doesn't last as long, and then he has a C4. And then for perks he has Shredder Rounds, Berserker, Helping Hands, Bounce Back, Life Drain and Headstrong. His passive is called Shrapnel Rounds, and what this does is when he damages someone with a firearm, he slows them for a very small portion. This is actually probably in need of a bit of a buff. It doesn't do much, it's very unimpactful, and it makes linking with Dahlia basically useless. I'd say it's not really worth it. His main ability is called Thermal Vision, and what this does is when he activates it, he has 15 seconds where he sort of gets an orange screen and he can see through smoke. He has enemies highlighted up as a big orangey red marker for him, and it's very similar to other thermals that you might see if you played Apex. Is very similar to Bloodhound's ability. Before I discuss how he's going to fit into the meta, I want to discuss his individual meta and how strong he is. So personally, whilst I think the Tier is a good, fun gun, I think the Deadeye is going to be his majority weapon. I think that's the one people are going to center themselves around. I think it's stronger. I think it fits more into the playstyle of the game currently because the DMR meta is still here. The balance changes really didn't change that. Some ARs are better now, but the DMRs are still going really strong. So I think the Deadeye is going to stay competitive for his kit. Then obviously you have playing around his thermal vision, his ability, and the cluster smoke grenade is really strong. This is where he shines. Either staying on defending side and stopping a hard breach with smokes, because they smoke it off and you can just see straight through the smokes of what they're trying to do, and you can get really nice kills that way. I think he's really strong in that regard. But also just for an aggressive play, throwing the smokes down and then standing in the middle of the smoke where they can't see you and you're able to see them, you can go into some really unique positions using this sort of strategy as long as you get out before the smoke clears. I definitely think he's strong. I definitely think he has a place in every part of the game, and let's go into it now by talking about the casual game modes. So this is going to be for your casual demolition players, your strikeout players, and just general players who aren't trying to hard grind the game. I'm not sure FIXER is a super good option for you. He's got a pretty high skill cap, I think, and the way you have to use his smokes and use his ability isn't the easiest and most intuitive to learn, and his weapons are very unforgiving in that regard. I think if you're a good player and you just play casually and you enjoy the sniping or you enjoy the Deadeye, you can absolutely go for it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that because it is casual play, so it doesn't really matter. But if you're just sort of getting new into the game or you're not really comfortable with single shot weapons, I think you're going to struggle on FIXER. Whilst his ability is really good, making sure you're prioritizing the right things, making sure you're getting the right upgrades, and making sure that you're accurate with those shots is going to be kind of difficult. And so I wouldn't recommend him for casual play, or particularly for newer players, but realistically, as casuals, you can do as you wish. If you do enjoy him, you do enjoy sniping, it's definitely a fun experience, and I have enjoyed the time I spent with him. But now we're going to get into ranked, which is obviously a more competitive scene, and we need to talk about whether he's really worth using. To do this, I'm going to lump in some of the ranks as categories. I'm going to go from bronze, silver, gold, and platinum as one category, and I'm going to talk about diamond, master, and rogue as the other category. For that lower tier category, I do not think FIXER is the most viable. He could probably start blending into plat, but for bronze and silver players especially, I do not think FIXER is going to be the way to go. As I said, FIXER has quite a high skill cap, and so you have to be really confident with your gameplay, with your positioning, especially your positioning, getting the smokes down, getting the thermal, knowing when to use the thermal, and recognizing what the enemy team are doing so that you can counterplay it is going to be really important. And I don't think FIXER is the best rogue to help deal with that. You kind of want rogues who have SMGs, who are really good at punishing and just have really shredding guns. without very much like payoff. And FIXER isn't one of these, so he is going to struggle. As you get into the higher tiers of ranks though, into your diamonds, into your masters, into your rogues, that's where he's going to shine. That's where players are going to have enough positional knowledge, enough map knowledge, and enough awareness to use him effectively. They're going to recognize the best times to use his ability. They're going to recognize the best weapon to use and be really accurate with those weapons regardless. And that's what he needs. He needs that 2-shot headshot from the Deadeye, or he needs to land that headshot or the 2-shot body shot from the tier. They're very, very important, and only really the higher ranks are going to be able to utilize this to the best of ability as we start getting to ranked. So in those upper tiers, I think he definitely has a place. I think he's going to be really meta. I think it's not really worth pairing the Phantom and him. I don't think the double sniper is a great strategy unless you're all absolutely cracked. But I do think FIXER has some good options. I think, I said, as you get into those high tiers, they're going to adopt the more meta Deadeye sort of strategy rather than the tier itself, unless you get those really, really good snipers who just want to use the sniper. So I think that's going to be his meta in ranked. Now let's move on to the competitive scene. So the competitive scene is very different from anything else because it's all about comp, it's all about strategy, and the question we kind of have to ask ourselves with FIXER is his ability good enough? Can he have a good pairing with Dahlia, who is almost always going to be meta at the moment? And does he offer enough weapon-wise in the meta at the moment to make him worth it? I think the answer to those questions mostly is yes, with the exception of Dahlia at the moment. The passive is just too weak. It definitely needs a buff to make it worth it. It needs to be quite a considerable slow, just generally for him and for Dahlia if she linked with him. So I do think that is in need of a buff. As for his ability though, smokes are used so heavily in competitive play at the moment. They're there to block off the site, they're there to stop you seeing rotations, and they're there just to make a big obscuring zone, and FIXER can completely counteract that. And that's where you'll see him be used a lot. Probably again with the Deadeye, I think they'll adopt that meta, but they could use the sniper because you do have some really good snipers in the competitive scene at the moment. But he is going to be really good at counteracting this smoke play, and that's why I actually think he's going to be a better defender than an attacker. I think he'll be fine on an attack, but I think defense is actually probably where he's going to shine the most because he can block the smoke plays. And then for the question of are his weapons good enough to be in the competitive scene? Yes, the Deadeye is really strong. If you hit the double headshot, at least it is really good. If you do not hit the double headshot and you go for 3 body shots or a head and 2 body, it's not really worth it. The fire rate is too slow, and it just doesn't compete with the ARs and DMRs and SMGs. If you're not able to hit the double headshot. If you are able to hit the double headshot, it cleans so quickly, and that's what you expect from the higher competitive tier players, right? Is they are going to hit these double headshots, they are going to be really consistent with it, and that's why I think he is going to be meta weapon wise, because the weapon is so strong, and it's just a general kit is going to be really good at adapting to what the situation of the current competitive scene meta needs. That's my general recommendations about FIXER and where I think he's going to sit into the meta. I would just recommend that you do pick him up regardless. If you have the reputation or the rogue bucks and you want to buy him, definitely check him out. He is really fun, and his thermal vision is something you need to understand. Even if you don't want to play him yourself, you need to understand it from the enemy's point of view and understand exactly how that works, how long he's got up for, and how long he can sit in the smoke for as well, how long that fuse time is. So do make sure you're checking him out. He's a really good rogue, and you're going to be seeing a lot of him, I think, in all the different scenes. Okay then guys, that takes us to the end of the video. If you did enjoy, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. You can also come follow me on twitch.tv/Radthar Gaming, see live game commentaries, guides, Q&As, tournament scrims, and ranked gameplay. All the links you need are down in the description below. But for now guys, I hope you have a fantastic day, and remember, be loyal, be brave, be relentless, and I'll catch you in the next video.